The year 1989 witnessed a series of transformative events across Europe that reshaped the political landscape of the continent. Several countries experienced significant upheavals, leading to the fall of communist regimes, the reunification of Germany, and the eruption of conflicts in Yugoslavia. Additionally, in China, the pro-democracy movement culminated in the Tiananmen Square protests. These events collectively marked a turning point in modern history, symbolizing the end of the Cold War era and the beginning of a new era of political change. The fall of the Berlin Wall. One of the most iconic moments of 1989 was the fall of the Berlin Wall on November 9. The wall had divided the city of Berlin into East and West since 1961, symbolizing the division between communist Eastern Europe and capitalist Western Europe. The opening of the wall came as a result of mounting pressure from the East German population and the changing political climate across Eastern Europe. Protests erupted in East Germany throughout the year, demanding political reform and an end to communist rule. The East German government, facing widespread public discontent, eventually decided to allow citizens to freely travel to West Germany. This decision led to the spontaneous dismantling of the Berlin Wall by jubilant crowds, marking a symbolic end to the Cold War division. The Romanian Revolution. In Romania, the communist regime of Nicolae Ceausescu faced a violent uprising in December 1989. Protests initially began in the city of Timișoara, sparked by government repression and economic hardships. The protests quickly spread throughout the country, with citizens demanding an end to Ceausescu's repressive regime. The situation escalated into a full-scale revolution, characterized by intense street fighting and clashes with security forces. On December 22, Ceausescu and his wife fled Bucharest, but they were captured, tried, and executed on December 25. The revolution resulted in the overthrow of the communist regime and the establishment of a new democratic government in Romania. Yugoslavia Civil War. The year 1989 also marked the beginning of a decade-long conflict in Yugoslavia that culminated in the breakup of the country. Yugoslavia had been a socialist federation, but tensions between different ethnic groups and regions had been simmering for years. The weakening of communist regimes in Eastern Europe and the shifting political dynamics provided an opportunity for nationalist sentiments to rise to the surface. The conflict began in 1991 when Slovenia and Croatia declared independence from Yugoslavia. This move triggered a series of violent conflicts, with the Yugoslav People's Army, YPA, intervening to prevent secession. The war soon spread to Bosnia and Herzegovina, where ethnic tensions between Bosniaks, Croats, and Serbs erupted into widespread violence. The conflict in Yugoslavia resulted in massive human rights abuses, including ethnic cleansing, war crimes, and genocide. It took the intervention of the international community and the signing of the Dayton Agreement in 1995 to bring an end to the war, but the consequences of the conflict continue to shape the region to this day. The 1989 Chinese protest. In China, 1989 witnessed a pro-democracy movement that culminated in the Tiananmen Square protests. Beginning in April, students and intellectuals gathered in Beijing's Tiananmen Square to demand political reform, freedom of speech, and an end to corruption. The protests grew in size and gained widespread support from various segments of society. However, on June 3 and 4, the Chinese government, under the leadership of Deng Xiaoping, deployed the People's Liberation Army to suppress the demonstrations. The military crackdown resulted in a tragic loss of life and a severe crackdown on dissent. The events at Tiananmen Square had a lasting impact on China's domestic and international affairs. Domestically, the government tightened control over political dissent and implemented policies to maintain social stability. Internationally, the incident led to condemnation and sanctions from several countries, straining China's relations with the West and prompting a re-evaluation of its human rights record. In summary, 1989 was a year of profound change and upheaval in Europe and China. The fall of the Berlin Wall symbolized the end of the Cold War division, while the Romanian Revolution, Yugoslav Civil War, and Chinese protests highlighted the desire for political reform, freedom, and democracy. These events reshaped the political landscape of the regions, leaving a lasting impact on their societies and the world as a whole.